Released in 2018, Venom 1 received mostly negative reviews, with fans claiming that there just wasn't enough focus on sound plot building, and most of the movie therefore just fell off. Regardless, Tom Hardy's solo performance ushered in massive box office numbers, so it was only a matter of time before Venom 2 made its way into the production process. With the new trailer for Venom 2 having been released not too long ago, many fans of the popular franchise may or may not have noticed some subtleties hidden throughout the video. So with the film set to release in September 2021, it's time to take a closer look at Venom 2 trailer and some of the secrets that you may have totally missed. But before we get into the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel with your notifications on so that you don't miss any new videos we post. First up, back in San Francisco, Venom 2, Venom Let There Be Carnage lets off with a beautiful panoramic view of San Francisco and the stunning Golden Gate Bridge looking over the bay. If you remember in Venom 1, the exciting Marvel film also primarily took place in the Golden City. It appears as though the sequel is set to return to the franchise's classic location. I'm sure this is welcome news for the fans of the series, as it helps to set this franchise apart from other superhero storylines, since the majority take place in locations like Gotham City, Central City, and New York City, to name a few. Number 2, Breakfast with Venom. One of the very first scenes in the Venom 2 trailer is of Eddie Brock and his symbiote pal Venom making breakfast together. For those that remember Venom 1, you know that the pair had previously agreed to coexist in secret, but it appears as though the relationship has grown tremendously since then. Even though Eddie's apartment has certainly seen better days, trash everywhere, animals roaming freely, the connection between Eddie and Venom feels stronger than ever. This is a massive development from the first Venom film, since they were not as open about the film's comedy and failed to build the relationship between Brock and Venom to any great extent. It seems, however, that Venom Let There Be Carnage is set to right the franchise's previous wrongs, giving us a quirky glimpse into their unconventional coexistence in day-to-day life. Next up is the invitation from Cletus. When Andy Brock sits down for breakfast, you'll notice that he's holding a card with some type of description on it, one that Venom squirts tomato sauce all over. Even though the item is relatively uninformative, it closely resembled a similar-sized card Cletus Cassidy is later seen writing profusely on inside his prison cell. It appears as if the prisoner has once again attempted to make contact with Hardy's character and could be requesting an audience with the journalist following their initial encounter at the end of Venom 1. Without paying close attention, this is something that could have been easily missed. And then there's the Stan Lee cameo. It's nearly been 3 years since the longtime comic writer, editor, publisher, and producer passed away, carrying forth one of the greatest legacies of all time. One of Stan Lee's staples was that he would consistently show up as a cameo in Marvel movies, so you might think that Venom 2 must be different given the circumstances. But we should have known better. In one scene, Eddie Brock enters Mrs. Chan's store and passes by a magazine stand near the front counter, when Venom's tentacle suddenly points out a cover with a revered comic book legend on the front. The perfect way to pay homage to an American legend, and a little snippet that you may or may not have noticed in watching the trailer. Number 5, Stephen Graham's Mulligan and Toxin. Another notion that you may have picked up on is that Venom 2 will introduce us to a brand new character, Mulligan, who's played by character Stephen Graham, known for his work in The Irishman, Boardwalk, and This Is England series. As indicated on the front page of the newspaper he's reading, Mulligan is currently investigating the Cletus Cassidy case and attempting to uncover the missing bodies that remain unaccounted for. Mulligan's hope is that Eddie Brock can help loosen up Cassidy and get him to speak. However, in the Marvel comics, Mulligan is actually a host for the symbiote Toxin, hinting towards a potentially dark introduction of another new character. Next, the Daily Bugle's multiverse hints. The Venom 2 trailer is surprisingly explicit, and many have likely already drawn parallels to Peter Parker's resident newspaper. However, what's also pointed out in the trailer is the Bugle's nod to potential multiverse connections, as shown most notably with the logo for the Daily Bugle with the same design as that of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. While this could easily be a notion of respect to the older Venom movies, it could also be a sign of further collaboration between Sony and Marvel. However, when you break down the trailer further, you'll also notice that there's a second multiverse revealed as well. As Venom's new character Mulligan, played by Stephen Graham, is reading through his newspaper, he suddenly crumples it up with just a few letters being visible in the shot. On the inside right-hand page, you should see Avengers Night. The obvious connection here is the reference to the Avengers and Nightmare, suggesting that the potential Marvel's elite superhero team exists within the Sony universe. Also, Ravencroft. Another exciting development in the Venom world was the introduction to the Ravencroft Institute, Marvel's version of Arkham Asylum. Within these gothic walls, criminals are treated, often leaving them in far worse conditions than they came in with. It appears as though Ravencroft will be one of the primary backdrops in Venom 2, which, with all of the scientific experiments, may lead to more and more human symbiote hosts, meaning more supervillains. The trailer teases that Ravencroft might burn down during the course of the film, but keep in mind, like Arkham, this would only be a minor setback as far as the Institute is concerned. The introduction of Shriek. What's also known in Venom Let There Be Carnage is the addition of what appears to be a third symbiote, Shriek. In the Marvel comics, Shriek, or Frances Barrison, is Cassidy's lover and fairly disturbing in her own right. What's interesting is that her clouded eyes mimic that of Cassidy's when he was given the lethal injection dose, suggesting that she too is inhabited by an alien parasite. Shriek is is played by the stunning actress Naomi Harris, known for her performances in the Pirates of the Caribbean films, as well as the latest James Bond movies, Spyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. The Frances Barrison character is more commonly known for being the mutant that can manipulate sound, which is also briefly shown in the Venom 2 trailer. Also in the Marvel Comics, Shriek does end up partnering with her boyfriend's Carnage symbiote, so there's a very real possibility that we'll also see this in the film. Next up is the Spider-Man appearance. With Venom being one of the primary antagonists in the Spidey universe, fans were eager to see a Spider-Man cameo in the Venom 2 trailer. However, they were instead met with a spider and a man. The trailer at one point cuts to an interesting plot with an unknown character smacking the spider flat in his hand. This man is believed to be Cletus Cassidy, since the plain blue overalls and feverish writings are reminiscent of the earlier shots of Harrelson's character. This image could mean multiple things, especially since it's not unlikely to find a spider within the cells of a prison. It could also hint at a potential showdown between Cassidy and Peter Parker down the line. Only time will tell. And finally, the arrival of Carnage. One of the centerpieces of Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer is the public execution of Cletus Cassidy and the transformation into Carnage. The serial killer is wheeled into a chamber with a public viewing gallery, with crying onlookers, likely the families of Cassidy's victims, watch on with utter disgust. The cocktail of deadly drugs enters Cassidy's body, and we begin to watch the transformation into Carnage. The trailer proceeds to show off the terrifying villain's wild capabilities as the long limbs and tendrils wreak havoc on local law enforcement, even while the footage is somewhat brief. And finally, giving fans a proper look at the villain in action, we see the chaotically expansive Carnage reveal its tendrils destroying vehicles and growing to monstrous sizes. Plus, one of the most visually attractive shots in the Venom 2 trailer is without a doubt the image of the symbiote in front of a massive stained glass window, which, aside from hyping up the villain as some kind of evil deity, seems to tease a potential battle between Venom and Carnage inside a church or cathedral setting. And where there are churches, there are loud instruments like huge bells or grand organs that can be used as potential weapons against the sound-sensitive symbiotes. And with that, it wraps up the video. Thanks for watching.